all of these other guys too. Like FD God, Fielder, Ben Best has played really well, but in my opinion, like Hanbin has been so good for this Paris Eternal team in a meta. Well, the last several metas where you just need to run Sigma 100%, Hanbin has been stepping up to the plate, even runs a really good D.Va too. We shall see if Paris can get some value out of the Genji. Vancouver did not seem to get a ton of value out of Genji on control, but now we're on Anubis. Could be a completely different animal.
That it could be. Kind of classic rollouts. More Genji as well for Sparkle and Dalton. Which is the classic duel upon the Mega Pack. Sparkle taking a very aggressive angle, trying to get that Immortality field down. A little bit too aggressive though. Sparkle does manage to click on his head. Now, or Shockwave even, managed to click on his head. Now Shockwave in the perfect position if you were an Ashe. High in the sky, and even Dalton getting a nice little couple of dash resets there also. Best thing about taking that fight, though, is getting your Reinhardt up to his ult and your Sigma as well. But Shredlock managed to do a little bit more damage than Ben Best in that situation. Does mean they have that shatter for this fight.
Well, the bad thing for Paris as well is Fielder ended up using Amp Matrix during that. And you consider where these fights always happen on Anubis. They're about a doorway size of where you can just put that Amp Matrix down, and now Paris is going to be behind it. Maybe they can land a Shatter here, though.
Well, there you go. Oh, there's the Shatter from Ben Best. Oh, what was that? Like a 90-degree Shatter? Fakey? Okay. Shockwave's Bob's going to do a lot of work, though. Sparkle goes down, and Dalton using that blade. Got a lot of armor stacking up, though, as the rally was used from both FD God and Karkar. Dalton almost invincible in this fight. He's still trying to do a little bit of work, and now there's relatively little healing as he managed to shake Fielder out of the fight, too. Oh, it's expended. However, Paris do have Bob and a blade of their own coming into this next fight. A quick reset from them as well, as they do have the closer spawn.
Yeah, Paris wins the economy during that fight. They don't end up using a lot. Fielder already has Amp Matrix back up again, and with Sigma going down, you'd have to think Paris is favored.
Yeah, oh, someone please kill Dalton in the back. He is very low, but no, soon's going to be fine. There's the blade. Perfect slash and dash on Karkar. A reset to kill Shockwave. That's the triple kill for Sparkle, and that's point 1 going over to Paris.
I guess if you're playing BAP, you just use your Amplification Matrix whenever, because Fielder, at the end of last fight, when he used the Amplification Matrix, got nothing out of it, ended with like 60%, and then they go into the next fight, have Amp Matrix up yet again. The amount of healing you put out as BAP, especially in these kind of close quarters brawls where everybody's taking a little bit of chip damage, is enormous. I don't know if Paris has the ults to really close it out, though. It's only Flux on the board for them.
Just the spawn is so good. I mean, also Bob is really good on this point too, because you can kind of set him in a corner and he's fairly hard to really deal with. However, Double Shield does kind of help and mitigate a lot of that. There's the Flux to start the fight out. Shreddog also has the Shadow and he crashes back down. KSA also using the ult. I love seeing a Sigma getting fluxed when he's also using the Flux. That was a very quick team fight. I barely got my words out. Shockwave and Dalton cleaning on up. That Flux and the Shatter combo, oh, so good. Everybody's lifted up, Shatter comes down, everybody falls over, and then Genji does his thing. A blade for Dalton for the next fight, and an Amp Matrix as well. Paris Eternal have got that Shatter, but I feel like they're going to have to build up to a blade in order to really seal the deal in this team fight.
Yeah, Paris would have liked to get some more ultimates out of Vancouver there. If you could have forced a blade towards the end or an Amplification Matrix, you feel much better about that fight. But all said and done, they come out relatively even when the ultimates are counted. It's going to be Ben Best with the Shatter trying to get something done here.
Gets a line out for it first. Oh my word! That's an aggressive position from Ben Best. Even more aggressive from Dalton. Right up in the sky. FD God has to get out of there ASAP. Feels like he didn't really need to use that blade, as Ben Best was already dead, but you know, taking the team fight and instantly ending it and making sure your rest of your DPS and tanks can get a little bit more ult charge as well by chasing them into spawn. Not too bad whatsoever.
And the cleanup there on the chase down, they get everybody going. Paris's next fight is going to be a really good opportunity, though. They have both damage ultimates up, and Bob is really good on defense, but as offense, he can be a really nice opener. You just send him right down the middle and chuck out all those shields out of the way and maybe follow it up with Blade, and then while all the chaos is happening, you can try to hit a Shatter. However, Vancouver with the rally does have the tools to shut down all of this aggression.
If Sparkle landed back into that Dynamite, I would have been mad. I would have been very mad. You don't need to do that. Oh, aggressive positioning once again. Better be careful though. Ben Best still has that Shadow. They must know at this point. And a Bob is just going to stop them from moving. Bob doing his best doorman impression. There's a Bob from Vancouver Titans as well. Ben Best has to get out there rather fast. A huge shadow on the front. Oh, a counter shadow is massive from Ben Best. Oh, it looks so good, but it was too late. Dalton and Shredlock already did the damage necessary. Oh, that would have been so clean, as sharp as his jawline, but he wasn't able to make it happen. Ben Best have 2 minutes, Paris Eternal now have 2 minutes on the board. And we see actually soon switching over to a Sombra. They just want that EMP Blade combo, and that's going to be it.
If you're going to make switches, you do it at 2 minutes. It almost guarantees you getting ultimate. It's the 2-minute warning. If you're on a hero and you can't charge your ult in 2 minutes, you're not playing it correctly. And this looked good, but what is going to be the follow-up on the counter shatter in this situation? Everyone's on the ground.
Oh man, Dalton already was at the back. He already dashed through somebody, so the shot didn't actually hit him. Oh, sad to see, but Soon's gonna have to build up towards the CMP. It's very tough on this map though, Hex. There's not a lot of free space. Speaking of free space, KSA is doing just that. Instant flux, instant kill to Hanbin, and then a Rock to finish it all off as well. 60 seconds does remain for the Eternal to push on to this second point. And with only 1 minute and 40% in the bank for the EMP, this very much looks like an OT EMP, which means Paris Eternal are going to have to play rather subdued and going to have to rely on the flux to create the space for them and then move on to the point. If Sparkle pops this blade early, Hex, I think it's going to be over because they're not going to be able to combo with too much as they follow with the EMP.
I mean, the idea is that Paris is playing for one single fight, right? EMP Blade, and you try to get there, and they've actually changed their supports into a big brawly comp here. They've got a Lucio and a Moira to be able to rock dead center. Soon just has to get this EMP. A nice solo kill, though, on Dalton.
That is a perfect start, but a perfect rock as well. Hanbin ends up falling over. Blade for Sparkle kills Rolf. They might not even need the EMP if they could just do that. Flux or no flux, Paris Eternal still make their way to the point and find the team kill as well. They build up the EMP, and now they can hack the Wrecking Ball as he comes in. They didn't even need to do that. So they do cap the point. That win condition that we set up perfectly, Hex, in our beautiful storytelling ways wasn't even needed because Paris Eternal managed to get the initial kill onto Dalton, which then they followed up with a perfect blade. I want to go back to what we said at the very start of the game, Hex, and the start of the series, with Ana being taken out of the meta, and sorry, not out of the meta, sorry, but the hero pool was taken out of the game, and Brig not now giving you armor as overheal. I was concerned that Genji wasn't going to be a really viable hero. Of course, Genji is able to build up Blade rather fast, and it's used more of a tool to force out Immortality Field, but if you've got a superstar like Sparkle on your team, it's not so much batting out the Immortality Field, more as just killing the rest of the team.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think we're going to see who the real Genjis are. Will the real Genji players please stand up? Because everyone can look good with a supercharger or a nano boost, and you just get those slashes through. We're going to see the actual mechanical plays of guys like Sparkle. The opening kill there, and then he's just going to get a couple in the back line. Hanbin and Sparkle being hammer and anvil, they will clean up all of that team. And then even if Vancouver was able to get out with that ball, I mean, the initial hack, they were going to roll into EMP, so that one was pretty much over. And they didn't even really need the EMP. I like the switch. I think it's a good idea. EMP Blade is theoretically the most strong Genji combo that we have in the meta right now. But we will have to continue to see. But it's going to be, you think you're a Genji? No, you're a Genji with an Ana. I'm a real Genji. That's what this meta is going to evolve to.
It's kind of ridiculous how much you can get done, right? Because Blongo, the blade in Bongo, isn't even available either. It's kind of ridiculous. And you have to be so patient with your dashes as well as Genji. You have to wait for the Immortality Field to come out, and then you have a save dash when the Immortality dies. Sparkle, of course, on Doomfist. I was talking about as Genji, because I think Doomfist, for me at least, is a way more fun hero to watch, especially if you have Sparkle piloting it. Very early aggressive push here from the Titans. Paris Eternal giving them a lot of space. Means no one's going to be able to get behind and farm this blade up rather fast. They are waiting, of course, for Sparkle to do something like this. Rather cheeky, if you do say so myself, as he does manage to find a double kill. They wait for them to come in. There's two nice walls that are right next to each other with a small archway. Perfect territory for the Doomfist. And one small thing, oh my god, kill Shockwave too. Nice little bit of tech to get onto the high ground as well. A nice bit of tech you can also do with the Doomfist with the Immortality Field. If you uppercut somebody, they actually leave the Immortality Field's range, as the height isn't as big as the uppercut height. So if you knock someone out, hey, they are free game. The Immortality Field means nothing if Sparkle rises and uppercuts them into the air.
He's already nearing his ultimate too, and the ultimate is not all that great, except it's a beautiful escape and you can get someone down, and immediately both supports down for Vancouver. This fight's over before it started.
Dalton at least has the wall climbing ability to get out of there ASAP. There's a bit of Assassin's Creed and escapes, or at least he tried to. Fielder and the rest of the gang were able to corral him. Now Paris Eternal only have to survive for 2 more minutes. Vancouver, however, they do have Blade. Flux, 50%. I'm not sure they can really do much in this situation, especially as you look at the Paris Eternal logs. They got Flux, they got Window, Rally, and they got Bob too.
I mean, it's just going to be about, can Dalton finally get some value out of this Genji? So far, they've run it on 2 maps, and it hasn't looked all of that stellar. And also on Genji, I mean, it's kind of a soft counter. Doomfist can just knock you out of Blade and just ruin your entire game plan, too. It's really interesting. We don't see a lot of Doomfist versus Genji, but I can see Sparkle making it work.
And that's the thing, you have to get the armor, right? But then you need Rally for that, which is you comboing 2 ults, which is kind of normal for these styles of comps, comboing those 2 things together. But Rally with Blade, Rally can take a long time to build up, especially if you're not in the fight. There's the punch into the wall, rising uppercut straight through Rob's Immortality field, but soon ends up going down of all people. Sparkle can still carry this, however, as he's got the Immortality field at his back. The Blade for Dalton's good, though, with the help from the Bob. He's slicing, he's dicing, he finds absolutely nobody because Shredlock and Shockwave have already cleaned everybody up. You're just there to damage people and make the rest of your team look good, Dalton, in that situation. They got a minute remaining. They get on the point, adding a few more to their time bank as the Paris Eternal once again switch over to this Sombra to try and hack the Genji or hack one of the main tanks. Soon just, he's playing a small little game on the point there, but they do manage to cap it in the end.
The main tanks are going to be the targets here. They're the ones with ultimate abilities up. I mean, a Grav Flux into a Shatter can work out really well sometimes if you can force out early shields. But Paris has made a lot of changes. They don't have a lot going on for them. Their first push is generally the best push, and that's the case for Vancouver right now.
They got the tools to make it work. Oh, not anymore. Take it back. Take it back. Sparkle can just seismic slam on the ground like that. Anubis 2, by the way, as a Doomfist map, especially on the defense, is kind of ridiculous. The amount of verticals that you can get, or diags, sorry, not verticals. Diagonals you can get is just absurd. I'm sure you guys have all seen it before, of course. There's quite a few clips of not only Agility's doing it, but people like Sinatra too, being able to get to high ground with only just a punch, because the way the surface is actually modeled and the way that its hitbox interacts with the punch, you can normally just slide up and carry your momentum up to the high ground, which leaves you to then actually engage with your seismic slam and the uppercut, and then once you've done that, you can then punch away. Doomfist is an extremely interesting hero, and I love to talk about it a lot. Flux, Cole, goodbye KSA, as well. The rest of the team is also going to say sayonara.
Yeah, Vancouver's just going to wait on this one. They had ultimates, but luckily they are not hitting Q. And you're right with the Doomfist. It also just makes you nervous as the offense. Like, where are you going to push in? You always have to check your back. You saw the Reinhardt go in. Shredlock went in. He's immediately looking behind him because he knows Doomfist could be on the high ground right behind him and be able to isolate the targets and just punch a tank forward. But Vancouver did a good job there. They got in, they made Paris use some ultimates, and they saved their own. However, now you have to know, if you're Vancouver, that you're going to be pushing into EMP. How can you bait this out and still win a fight is the question.
Yeah, Soon is definitely going to have it online momentarily. Early
Rally
rally from the Titans, yeah, so they're expecting the EMP to come through rather soon. Bob is going to get sent out, chip away some of that armor, but Shockwave's actually in the back. He got caught out completely by Sparkle and Fielder. And now they're moving on to the point with only 1 DPS. They use the window too. They're committing a whole bunch to this fight. They definitely think they can win. There's the Shadow on the ground. Goodbye, Shredlock. Receives Immortality field, but his health bar is so low. A counter shout from Shredlock, but can they finish off with damage? I don't think so, not anymore. As the Paris Eternal, for safety's sake, do use that beat in the fight. And now Vancouver Titans, even just foregoing some of that charge on the Ashe, end up switching to Tracer because they invested already so much into that fight Hex. And now what are they running into? They got EMP, they got pretty much everything that they need.
I mean, beat is fine to use there if you just look at the absolute glut of ultimates that Paris has. They're able to hold on to absolutely everything else. Vancouver is going to need the blade of a lifetime. As you mentioned, a lot of investments came in there, but early on, that Doomfist got to the back line, and then that's so much consistent damage you're expecting from your Ashe back there. Soon almost gets caught, though.
Oh, that's a big meteor strike. Oh, Blade on the point, though. Can he actually kill the Moira? Of course he can't. Moira's got a fade every 6 seconds. Then there's the boot from FD God, styling on Dalton, in fact. Paris Eternal, it looked very winnable there. Dalton just kind of solo on the point without rally armor either, because they don't even have a brig. The EMP comes out too, and now Vancouver Titans are in final fight territory. 35 seconds remains. They need to actually cap. But Paris Eternal invested basically everything, but in the meantime, Ben Best, through all the chaos, was able to build up a shatter. They've got the Flux, they've got the Coal, and maybe a tire if Shockwave can bring it online, but this is second hero swap coming in to this attack onto the second point hex. They have got a giant wall in front of them for them to climb
it's
over.
tough, and it's going to be scouted too, and immediately, I love this. No one really fights out here, so you're not expecting it to get the aggression going.
Yeah.
This one's over, yeah.
So sad. Oh, it's so sad. Like you said, no one's expecting to fight out there. That was almost perfect setup. Soon hacks the Junkrat. Sparkle jumps in, rising up a gut straight to his face, and he ends up falling. OT's ticking through. You know what's going to happen, though. The Paris Eternal are just going to be able to fend everybody else off, but you might as well touch for some additional time. And if you do find a pick, maybe it's winnable, but it's looking rather unlikely, especially when you're against a Sombra and even Sparkle with this Meteor Strike. OT ticks down, and Paris Eternal, they got a match point in the series as they claim Anubis.
Well, what a great way to play Sombra, too, on that last point, where you know you can just stop them before you get on a fight. Paris turns on the aggressive switch. They play in a part of the map that is often underutilized. We were talking a little bit about assault maps earlier, and I'm like, there's just parts of maps that no one fights in, ever.
Like,
It's a
how English
calzone.
am I?
Yeah, it's a
No,
calzone.
No. That looks like a Cornish pasty. I forgot the word pasty.
Oh, okay, yeah,
For a
pasty,
good 10
yeah.
seconds there. I feel awful. I'm sorry, my English friends. That was... I'm ashamed of myself.
I mean, it just looked like something from the locale calzone zone, you know? That's what I thought it was.
Calzone zone. That should be the call out for that portion of the map, although I don't actually know where those two pigeons are chilling. Probably not chilling anymore, as there's lots of violence happening towards the spawn door. Nice punch
Very
onto Dalton there.
hold.
Dalton was in the back line and did get instantly killed off by the punch. I mean, you might as well hold this far up, right? You get an extra fight if you do manage to do it, and they've got to make sure Shockwave doesn't get caught out again. This is the problem that they found themselves in last time around. But with Builder falling, Paris Eternal, it shouldn't matter to them all too much because they have a small advantage, and it's just going to be dying on the payload to solve for some additional time. Don't step on that dynamite, Harpin, you're good. And they finally get the payload moving, but burning almost a minute off the time bank, not too bad whatsoever. Potentially one and a bit extra fights now.
No, it's very much like you think about Route 66. There's really no cost of trying to hold very far forward because then you can just hold it where you're going to hold. Anyway, it gets you an extra fight. It burns some time off the clock. I guess the biggest attraction is that the other team generally will have ult advantage going into these fights if they mop it up. But it was a pretty close fight back and forth, some trades, so Vancouver is going to have ults. They're going to get aggressive.
They're going on Hack Fist now. Sparkle on the Doom. There's the Shadow. That's a lot of people on their back, but instant EMP. There we go. There's the combo we were waiting for. I don't think they were expecting the EMP to be built up that quickly, but you have spent about 2.5 minutes building it up. That was beautiful. Wait for them to use their big tank ults, hit them with the EMP, and then no one can follow up with the damage, and then you win the team fight. Sparkle now trying to find an early pickoff with the help of Soon, potentially. Looks like Vancouver Titans might be able to get another recontest here. Another benefit of holding so far up, like you were saying, Hex. Sparkle even has that Meteor Strike to make sure he can get out of dodge rather fast. Dalton very quickly bites the dust, and that should just be it. Although they do get Flux up in the air, and even the Bob doing a fair bit of damage.
Yeah, it's close.
Bob doing a little bit more than a fair bit as he takes out FD God extremely close. Only 1 meter away. A clutch Flux from KSA makes sure they can hold on to the payload.
It really felt like that was going to be Paris all the way, and so much so that I think Paris was holding on to ultimates so that they weren't burning them. They thought they had that fight in the bank, but an enormous flux comes through from the Vancouver Titans, able to get that one going, and Vancouver is able to hold on to 2 support ultimates. Karkar not there yet, but he will be, and the Blade. That's an enormous fight for Vancouver. I think Paris, and even as a spectator, I thought Paris had that one, so they were holding ultimates. Not so.
They're looking for the hack. Dalton's going to be able to scurry to cover, but not scurry quick enough. That's a rock straight to his face. He had Blade too, which could have been the turning point. Aggressive Blade from the Titans. They need to be able to hold on to this payload, but Bembest unaffected really about the extra shields, just still swinging through, chunking out Shredlock. There's the EMP. A lot of people hacked. Shredlock instantly killed. KSA next to fall, maybe. But no, Shockwave manages to keep everybody in the fight with that Bob, and even Dalton coming back with the Blade is rather low, but he's doing the damage. And now only 60 seconds remains for the Eternal. We said about how they can take the maps off. It's not been a one-sided affair up until this point, I must say. A lot of these fights looking rather good for the Titans. A very late Flux being used also. They know there's only really one fight now for the Paris Eternal to come back. A return Flux for Humbin mixed with that Coalescence. Everybody's isolated. Shredlock finally goes down. My word, he took a long time. And Hunbin cleaning up the rest.
A very questionable late Flux. It looked like Paris was on their way out. Vancouver could have held on to that one. Paris wanted to retreat, but then they get fluxed, so they have to counter respawn with their own ultimates. The Coalescence comes through, and Paris able to get that final push to get an extension on their clock. And now Vancouver's bank is nearly empty, and this has been happening all series as well. Vancouver is not retreating properly. They're getting caught out late, and there's been a lot of stagger deaths from the Titans.
Ouch. It should be a nice position. That Shadow didn't hit anybody, unfortunately. Sparkle takes to the skies as well, retreats the rest of his team. Or maybe he doesn't want to. He's still got 100 HP and gets a lot of shielding. Well, if he hits people, but he didn't hit anybody, so he instantly died, actually. I take it all back. Shredlock does end up falling, though, which means KSA is going to be alone in the front line to try and deal with the rest of the onslaught coming from Paris Eternal, and they're still moving the payload, mind you, as well. Froth is also pretty low, has to play safe, and once your supports are low and can't heal themselves, it's a very sore fight for you to lose. Even if they're alive, they have to be careful of not only Soon, but Sparkle getting to the back line and insta-killing them. A minute and 50 seconds, Hex. Vancouver have Blade, and they have Bob.
Yeah, Onslaught is the exact way to describe this. There's not been a concerted defense thus far from Vancouver. The Blade comes out, though, gets one.
It's so good, but the healing might have been better. Fielder using that Coalescence, managed to stay alive throughout the entirety of that, but FD God still ends up going down. Fielder luckily stays alive, and Sparkle taking the fight into his own hands. A big EMP followed up with Sparkle's damage pipe might be all that they need, but a clutch beat from Karkar saves them from Sparkle, and the Bob as well, backing up the team when they most need them. However, a late beat from the Paris Eternal as they come back in. You see FD God flying from spawn, hits 4 people with the beat, and they clean up the fight. Paris Eternal secures second point, and the Titans once again looking like they're going to win the team fight. Just at the very end, managed to let it slip through their fingers.
This is kind of the stat that we had prefaced before the match started, that Vancouver just doesn't win fights where they lose people in it, whereas Paris, they'll lose 1 or 2 and they still go at it. FD God coming flying back in from spawn, gets that beat there, and Paris able to take that one up. But Sparkle going down first. Everyone's so low on Vancouver right now, though.
Yeah, everybody got fluxed up in the air, and Humbin was touching the skybox. Soon back on the Kree, doesn't want to step on the Sombra, he's not going to be able to get too much done, and yeah, deals with Dalton super easily. These fights are so winnable from either side. It feels like it's not decided until Soon or Sparkle or even Dalton gets a pick off. The tank's still brawling it out, and Paris Eternal still managed to control all the space on the payload. Quick regroup from both teams, and they're back to full strength in a matter of no time.
Yeah, I mean, people forget about Soon's McCree being one of the best in the world, but an open Coalescence from Vancouver, they got to try to get kills here.
Oh, that was such a nice Bob, too. As soon as he sees the Doomfist go up in the air, he's got to let out Bob before Sparkle lands on his head, but it didn't matter in the end. Sparkle's now able to try and find a flank route as the Paris Eternal rout the Titans. They've got a minute left. Havana third, rather dangerous to actually complete considering how close the spawn points are, and they have a nice sight line on payload as well. However, holding them straight at the door is not going to be too much of an issue for the Eternal, and this is what you really need to do, force them to the other side, and look at the free space they're now gaining. FD God just sitting on the payload all alone. One person's going to be able to touch it is Karkar. He needs to survive and get the beat to make sure his team can actually recontest once again, but they might not be able to actually give the beat to. Bembest and Fielder kill off Dalton and Shredlock at the end, and Karkar, unfortunately, even if he did have the beat, it would have only landed on himself. That will be a completion for the Eternal with a little bit of time in the time bank as well. 54 seconds, nothing to scoff at.
No, it's a great completion for Paris Eternal. The cart did not stop once it got through that first point. This was either going to be like a full hold from Vancouver Titans or what you saw just happen there. There was no defense from second point onward, even in fights that felt even at times, where Vancouver's getting a pick or two. That payload never stopped moving. They were always on it. Paris just scrapped it out all the way through. And yeah, it felt like there were fights happening, but it never felt like Vancouver really got their feet back under them after the first. And this has happened on the first couple of maps. Some of these stagger kills where Paris is being really aggressive to mop up. When they get one or two, they're going after the rest of the team as they try to retreat. So Vancouver's got to recognize this. They have to get out cleaner and hopefully have like an actual 6v6 defense, because I didn't see a whole lot of great concerted team fights there from second on to third. That payload just kept moving. They just never stopped it. Get 1 kill, 2 kills, but it never mattered.
I feel like both teams at the very end, it came down to just the DPS clicking on people after they'd already died to start off with. Extraordinarily scrappy fights. Very early hold for the Eternal. No surprises there, but Sparkle's going to have a little bit of a field day here. There's so many surfaces you can hit people into. Oh dear, Shockwave wasn't expecting that. A flame strike straight through the spawn door. Fire strike even.
Hey, Shockwave on Echo, though. This is how they were so good. Shockwave's Echo was a thing to behold, and now Dalton's going to go to McCree as well, try to slow down Sparkle. Flashbang's pretty good against both the DPS and Paris.
Yeah, Sparkle's main goal here is to kill Shredlock or KSA. It's going to be a tough time, like you said, and there you go. KSA meets him up with the rock. Bembest 2 caught out in the front line. Not the hold they were really looking for there. Paris only managed to kill 1, but still, you get another fight, so why not? However, Shockwave and Dalton, good luck, Sparkle, for your Doomfist. And in fact, yeah, there you go. He switched over to Genji. A little bit more brawling power. Not so much in the sky still, but the blades are going to be a little bit more impactful than the Meteor Strike is, not Seismic Strike.
We'll see what they can get done. I actually just really like that Vancouver's finally switched off of some of the damage heroes that they had before. These are your best heroes, and like when you're down 0-2 in a match and you're map 3 that you just got completed on, it becomes time to just everybody play their best hero. We're going to go out with our style. Let's see how it works.
See them kind of swapping positions at this point now. Paris control the payload and the space around it. Titans get EMP'd, and that should just be it. Everybody falls over. And that was the extra fight we were talking about, as well as that payload not really moving anywhere near this the final corner before it hits into this first point. Oh dear, Shredlock having the worst time imaginable. Yeah. I thought it might be over. The days of main tank suffering with Orisa and the Mei, but no, because I forget Sombra exists too, and she can just hack people. So
Paris has been so good about punishing these late retreats, and it's not always the Vancouver Titans' fault, really. Paris has just turned the switch very quickly. Whenever they win a fight, they win it dominantly.
Oh, Blade for Sparkle in the back. Oh, he kills Dalton mid-ult too. Oh, he's so good. Everybody crashes back down to earth. A quadra kill for Sparkle. Everybody's half HP. That percent damage from the Flux just aiding in Sparkle's resets. The Paris Eternal hold on to the payload yet again, and the payload is trekking its way back to the spawn as well, mind you.
Only 2 fights left. Vancouver's going to come up on some ultimates, but there Sparkle goes just a killing again. Makes the blade work in a meta that really is not even being super enabled and pocketed. Just how good he is.
Cole, Shockwave going for the dangerous Genji. 75%, there's the blade. What a couple of dashes. He does get robbed, and remember, he will come out 100% HP when he comes out of this ult. He's trying to get stuff done, and he does just that. FD Godden Humbin. They end up falling, as well as Sparkle off the back of it as well. Normally you saw the Echoes transforming into the tanks, and a bit of a risky game transferring into a DPS, but with the buff on the Genji, you're going to earn that blade so fast with the Echo. He does just that, and they managed to get the payload moving once again, but Paris still have a fight in the bank.
Well, they're about to get EMP'd. The biggest question right now for Paris is how do you follow up the EMP?
Oh, they're going now.
Nothing else left. Big EMP, though, gets 2.
Cole, oh, soon instantly dies. That Coalescence is doing such work in the back, keeping everybody alive, and the EMP looks so good too. Hit 3 to 4 people. Unfortunately, Vancouver Titans were waiting for it, and they knew exactly how that fight was going to go down. As you saw, Rolf positioning way out of the range and out of LOS. Soon's like, nope, I've had enough. I need to take care of Shockwave up in the skies. He switched over to the Kree.
Yeah, it's a desperation EMP, and hopefully you get it going there. But EMP without any sort of ultimate follow-up is usually going to be a really tough ask to get. But Suno's going to switch anyway to try to deal with Shockwave in the sky. He's going to go back to that McCree. So, yeah, it looked kind of bad, and they threw away an EMP, but that EMP was going nowhere anyway.
Play for Sparkle, flashbanged, and yeah, there we go. No nano boost, no Blongo, no armor. That means Genji's a little bit more vulnerable than he used to be. KSA bringing out the up to the skies as well, and holding this high ground too. They were, I believe that was actually an interrupt on Fielder's Coalescence, potentially. I didn't quite see it through all the just a massive abilities that were going off, especially in POV of KSA. That was a very good fight. The Blade is definitely a tool to force out abilities. You kind of saw it there, but it was all on KSA actually getting to the high ground and no one really paying attention to him. High ground set up now for Dalton.
Without the nano and the armor packs, like getting double stunned actually means Genji dies now, rather than the previous meta where you could get double stunned and Genji still gets 3 kills. Vancouver's in a great spot here. They have every ultimate they could possibly want.
Shatter on the payload. There's the Deadeye, but oh, dearie me! You don't want to pull the trigger that fast, I'm afraid. Not when Deflect is up. Straight back into his temple. And that'll be the Titans resetting. Still got a minute and 20 seconds. Havana rather scrappy. Not many ults to bear, though, for this next fight, and they got to run into this Coalescence, potentially Blade from Sparkle, and this High Noon, too.
Vancouver just used everything that they had, and for that to go as badly as it did for Vancouver is brutal. We're nearing only a minute, and there's single-digit ultimate charges on several of the Vancouver Titans heroes trying to go forward. We see a little bit of Tracer for the first time today, as Shockwave is going to move on to that hero. Probably just trying to get to the back line, maybe pressure out Fielder and FD God. Just trying to take a 1v1 against a Genji or McCree as Tracer is not ideal.
Maybe he was fairly early. It's not the biggest waste of cooldowns there, but you definitely want to combo the orb with a cold.
Beautiful shot.
An instant headshot. It was half HP too, mind you, maybe a little bit over, but instant kill. However, KSA does die to High Noon of all things, but Darwin's still in the back line. Eventually gets cleaned up, but the damage might have already been done as the blade is pulled from Sparkle. Desperation! As you see Shredlock just carving him up in the front line. There was no way he was going to be able to get more than anything else done. Sparkle changed to something else, but no, he still wants to stick on the Genji. As they switch to Sombra, I mean, this is going to have to be his time to shine. The payload does reach the second point, and now the grueling push to third point. Oh, Shockwave, that was not what you wanted to be.
It is a long way, and switching to Sombra is absolutely the right move. With only 90 seconds left, you feel on the defense you really only need to win one fight. Cole's going to open this one up, push everybody back out. Soon's building pretty quick.
There's the flux being opened up. Yeah, car crashes back to Earth. Yeah, he knew he was dead. There's absolutely no way he's surviving that one. A beautiful rock. And a hack as well. Oh dear, the hack! Oh, the hack actually killed Shockwave. FD God booped him off to get the final kill credit. He actually boosts KSA off as well. FD God, stop it. Please. Eventually gets cleaned up by Dalton. Yeah. They do manage to claim the payload. It's just because the spawn positions for the attacking squad there, because the payload wasn't moved too far, they were able to get back on rather fast. Shouldn't be too big.
Translocate. Soon's in a little bit of trouble without that translocate up now.
Oh, he is dead. Oh, he is very dead, yep. No, he is not. I don't know where he's gone. It looked like he fell off the map, but he's going to be out of action for the time being.
Well, it's 30 seconds left. It's do or die now for the Titans.
Getting the flux off with a hammer down as well, but Shockwave wasn't really in position to follow up with any damage, and now he's found himself in no man's land. Sparkle ends up finishing off with a melee. Someone might be able to touch here, but it's looking rather unlikely. Coalescence coming out as well to force everybody back all the way to the spawn. FD God even has the beat. They have Blade, they have the EMP. They've got every single tool in the bank that they need to win a team fight, especially in OT. Vancouver Titans got a mountain to climb, and I don't think they're even going to get up the first step. The Sparkle Blade is good enough to finish everybody else off. The Paris Eternal forcing everybody away, and they take the map and the series a clean 3-0 to start off the qualifiers.
Yeah, I don't know if I really want to call Havana clean. That felt like the filthiest bunch of fights in a row I've ever seen. It never really felt like one team had solidly won a fight and got the reset, but at the end of the day, Paris relies on that EMP Genji. I think we're going to see a ton of Sombra. I really do. I think teams with a good Sombra player are going to be at an advantage here because it works so well. If you want to enable your Genji player, who's still going to be very important, if you want to enable your Doomfist, Sombra is the player to do it. And then when you got a guy guy like Soon who can play both McCree and Sombra and really anything else that you ask him to do. That versatility really helped Paris towards the end, but it's just tough.